Well, let's talk about comedy as a trade. Can comedy be learned? Let's say you don't have a lot of talent or maybe any talent. Can you learn comedy and become funny through experience?
Nah, I don't think so. I think you need the talent. I think some people have squeaked by. There's going to be some guy on a cruise ship or a TV show maybe who's just super handsome or just good personality, like kind of lively, light up a room, charisma, but not actually a funny person. There's a lot of guys who aren't funny. Is this special certain thing? Like people use that word. They'll be like, Jenny McCarthy's so funny. I'm like, no, she's not funny. She's just goofy and wacky. She's not actually a funny person. If you gave her a microphone and put her on stage without any act or jokes, she couldn't make it work. I think a funny person is just funny in the moment. It's in their bones, And so I think the thing about comedy, the thing about stand-up that's so hard is like Will Ferrell tried stand-up, couldn't do it. Greg Kinnear tried stand-up, couldn't do it. Now he got an Academy Award, but he couldn't do stand-up. So like stand-up is so hard because it's not only is it funny, but you have to be presentable, you have to be likable, basically. You have to get the crowd to understand what why your thoughts are funny in front of them in real time. So you have to not only be funny, but adapt it into a way that they understand why it's funny and then laugh in front of you immediately. So it's a crazy, crazy concept, stand-up comedy. So it's totally different because I can giggle about something in my bedroom, and then if I tell it on stage, they'll just go, huh, what? So I have to take that thing I giggled about, figure out why it's funny, and then kind of make it accessible with certain words to strangers, and they have to laugh at it. So it's a really, when you think about it, it's a really hard thing to do. It's a hard art form. That's really the art form is translating it to the masses.
Can you talk about the history of the art form? As I understand, stand-up comedy is primarily an American phenomenon. You don't see stand-up in Pakistan.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. It's definitely American. I think it was all Jews mostly. I think it was vaudeville. Because back in the day, performers were like a low rung on the employment line. It was like garbage men, then in performer, then bookie or whatever the hell. It was pretty low. So back then it was just poor people trying to make a buck, and they were just riding the rails, going all over the country, juggling and slipping and pratfalls and falling on a banana peel and telling jokes in between. And then at some point the jokes in between vaudeville acts became a kind of a skill. Like, all right, I need more jokes. I'm hosting all night. I got to cover 20 minutes. So I just need jokes and jokes and jokes. And then eventually those jokes became the act. And then you had guys just doing comedy. And the term stand-up comedian came from the mob, because the mob ran all these kind of speakeasy dive bar joints where a comic would go up and perform. And if you would kill a guy, if the mob killed a guy in front of you and you didn't tell anybody, you were a stand-up guy. Like you weren't a snitch. So they called you a stand-up guy, and that's where stand-up comic came from. Because when you think about it, cashiers are standing up, but we don't call them a stand-up cashier. But a comic is a stand-up guy because they didn't snitch on you when you killed that mark.